Hi, I'm Ben.
I'm Mike.
And today we're reacting to what?
The Tesla Cybertruck.
Cybertruck.
The truck of the future.
The electric pickup truck billed as an alternative to traditional pickup models.
Doesn't look like anything else.
Now, full disclosure, we're going to give our sort of thoughts and takes and maybe a little bit of light criticism or just observations. But full disclosure, I ordered one.
I ordered one.
But actually...
I ordered one first. I'm just kidding. I beat him by like 12 seconds.
We didn't actually order. We put our deposit down.
Yeah.
It's just a $100 deposit. I think as of now, this is just a couple days after the release. I've heard estimates as high as like 200 to 250 deposits have already been placed.
250,000, yeah.
Yeah, but Elon Musk came out, I think earlier this morning, and said he confirmed officially 146,000 deposits had been placed at $100 each.
So that mean 1.4 million?
Hey, I already said we're not doing math on here.
Math.
Yeah. So, your initial reaction?
It's the truck of the future. Like I said that just a second ago, but it really looks like it. It's one of those things where we've talked about the Model 3, we've talked about the Model X. They're tight, driving them is awesome, riding in them is really cool. When you're in it, it feels amazing. But when you look at it, it looks like a Toyota Camry. Or maybe not a Camry, but maybe like an Infiniti. Something, it's like a mid-tier.
Right. They look like other cars.
They look like everything else.
Right. My first reaction was not, this is the truck of the future. My first reaction was, this is the minivan of the future.
No.
I was thinking, like, that is the coolest looking Toyota Previa I've ever seen.
Dang, I didn't think that at all. Whenever I saw it first, I looked at it and I kind of was digesting it. I didn't know if I loved it until I saw one of the unveiling videos. Whenever I saw that, I saw Elon Musk standing in front of it, and I saw how big it was.
Yeah.
Then it sort of sold me on it because I was the same way. It's this angular design. Is it a minivan? Is it an SUV? Is it a truck?
When most people think trucks, and I think this is why I've seen so many people that aren't very smart to say, oh, the design's really ugly.
Yeah.
Design is not about what something looks like. If you think design is just what it looks like, you're an idiot. But I think most people expect a truck to have that, right?
Right.
And they want to see the profile separation between the bed of the truck and the cab. Probably why the Avalanche never
took off.
Right. So I was thinking more minivan of the future or El Camino of the future.
Damn. Okay, so I think it sits somewhere between. Whenever I think about it, it sits like a Chevy Avalanche. But all the good parts of a Chevy Avalanche, not the super short bed.
Because it has a 6-foot bed, a little over 6?
Yeah, it's a full 6-foot bed. But a Chevy Avalanche, I remember looking, it has about a 5.5 foot bed.
Right.
And it's really kind of tucked into the cab in a way to where it doesn't quite even look like it's that long. But I kind of picture it as a Chevy Avalanche, as much as I hate to say that, mixed with, what are they called? Back to the Future mobiles.
Oh, DeLorean.
A DeLorean, yeah. It's an Avalanche meets a DeLorean. It's amazing. I freaking love it.
Right. So the stainless steel is the first design decision that really jumped out to me as intriguing. And they're sort of saying it has an exoskeleton, which means the majority of the structure is in the exterior panels, which makes it a little bit more durable. And that makes sense to pair that with the stainless steel because it can't corrode.
Yeah.
You can buff it out if it does get sort of scratched. Everyone was talking about how the glass cracked. It didn't break. It cracked.
Oh my!
Not any better.
It didn't go through.
Which is what safety glass and bulletproof glass is supposed to do. I think a lot of people have this notion that if you shoot a gun at bulletproof glass, the bullet just bounce off and nothing happens.
Right.
No, it's supposed to absorb and fracture and disperse the impact.
Word.
It's not like they're like going to be like BBs just bouncing off.
But still, not the best demonstration. We're going to say that one fell flat.
Right. But see, I actually thought that wasn't that compelling anyways, because it's like you can put bulletproof glass in any truck or any vehicle. It just costs more. And it's like, do you really want that cost upgrade relative to being bulletproof?
I'm feeling pretty threatened day to day, just trying to go to Home Depot, not getting shot.
Yeah. So
no.
We've compared it to the Avalanche. What do you think are like the closest comparisons when you actually take into consideration price? Like someone that's going to buy this Cybertruck, what were the other vehicles that they were going to consider?
Well, that's the thing. So price-wise, it's sitting the same as a new Dodge 2500.
A little bit more, right?
Right.
A little bit more, maybe like 5 to 10 grand more.
Exactly. Maybe if you take away autopilot or if you go dual motor instead of 3 motors, you're in the same price range. Loaded out Tesla sits right under 80. Loaded out Dodge, probably in the low mid 70s.
Yeah.
Somewhere like that.
So I recently was using a fully loaded Dodge Ram.
Brand deal.
It was great. It had air suspension too, I believe.
Yeah.
Plenty of power, nice smooth ride, nice interior.
Kind of nice interior.
Yeah.
You remember looking at it, it had those like tribal stitching, like it had some like embroidery that was a little corny.
So it was a fine truck.
Yeah, it was great.
This is way cooler. And when you factor in, if you how much fuel a truck like that would use, probably somewhere between like 18 and 22 miles per gallon. If you drive 40 miles a day, drive 300 days a year, do the math. We don't. With this, I mean, you're still paying for electricity. Electricity is generally, depending on where you live, cheaper. And you would also have the option to, put some solar panels in, so you could actually buy your fuel once and then just keep recharging from your house with offset with a few solar panels.
Yeah.
So I did think that kind of makes sense. If I was looking for a full-size truck, this would... I still think I wouldn't use it if I was like a painter or someone that was actually a laborer that was constantly reaching over the side.
Yeah.
That slanted profile on the back would sort of inhibit reaching in over from the side of the truck. It seems like it's very much intended to be primarily rear axis from the tailgate.
Yeah, like drive something in, drive it out, or throw some plywood in, straight in and out.
Right, which made me think, again, that's why I think the profile made me think minivan. But then I was thinking of like the people that would buy it. It might be someone, I could see someone that like would buy a G-Wagon, another sort of loud, big, obnoxious vehicle, buying this thing instead.
Yeah, it's the same price. It's like, it was cheaper than a G-Wagon, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And then I think the other cross section or the Venn diagram of the people buying it, it's like you've got people that would just buy a truck here. You've got people that would buy a luxury SUV or truck here. But then you also have just people that would buy a Chevy Avalanche or someone that would buy a Honda Ridgeline. Someone that doesn't want a full-size truck, but they need a truck bed a few times a month. And for those people, I think this is amazing. It's about twice as much as a Ridgeline. That might be a little bit of a hard sell.
Right.
But realistic, it's functioning as well as that is.
So I currently drive a Toyota Tacoma 2019, paid about $38,000 for it. Wasn't a brand deal. It's a great truck. I love it. It's about the same length as this. I think this is a little bit wider. Interior is way nicer on this. Towing capacity way higher on this. Like not even close. This thing is an absolute beast. And also, this is faster than a Porsche.
Yeah.
0 to 60 in that. So
2.9 seconds.
For me, that kind of
cow.
speed isn't that appealing. I'm not exactly like... It's not that it's not appealing. It's incongruous with the sort of functionality of the truck part, right?
Yeah, it's not something you're going to take advantage of.
If I'm can you imagine throwing a load of cinder blocks in the back and then like going 0 to 60 and like
just everything
the
flies
bricks
out.
Literally just crush against the back of the tailgate?
Yeah. So some self-destruct.
So I think that's why there was such weird reactions to it. Most of the reactions I saw were very polarized. I probably know 30 people just looking around on my friends on Instagram that put in deposits for this. Again, that doesn't mean the same as actually that they're going to pull the trigger and purchase it.
It's like reserving your spot in line, basically.
Right. But so I definitely saw people, and I can't imagine a new, I knew people were excited about the new Ford Bronco, but I can't imagine that many people that I know putting down a deposit on something like that.
Nah.
The other reaction I saw was people saying how ugly it was and how bad the design was. Again, I think if you just sort of are talking about...
Well, it's form plus function, right? Well, to isolate either of the two is not doing the other justice.
An aesthetic criticism, totally valid, but very subjective, right?
Yeah.
You can say that you think that the same thing looks great, and another person equally with equal validity could say that it looks like terrible. I think that's a really limited way to think about design in general. I'm more interested in, from a business standpoint, did the design or did the aesthetic of the design work? Did it succeed?
Just let the market decide whether it's a good design or not.
Right. And so for context, I did a little bit of research. And by research, I mean I Googled. So please verify, because I might not have looked at things that were 100% accurate. But from what I understand, the Toyota Tacoma is the most sold truck.
Nice.
Right? So I think the Toyota Tacoma is the best-selling truck in America. Mike, how many trucks a year do you think that is?
250,000.
No, I think it's about 130 to 150,000 trucks a year.
Reasonable.
So if you're the best-selling truck and you sell 130,000 to 140,000 a year. And this truck is way more expensive. And I think Elon said this morning that it was about, and this is a couple days after the launch, he confirmed about 140,000 pre-orders, but I've seen things since then that have said anywhere from 200 to 250,000 deposits. So let's just say, and this is just a few days later, I'm sure they're going to get into the 500,000 deposits.
I would imagine.
So even if, only a quarter of those people do it, if you create a $70,000 or a $40,000 to $70,000 truck that even sells 100,000 in its first year,
it's insane.
Like,
game changer.
Like, anyone that on top of that says it was, oh, you should fire your designers. No, you should give your designers a raise because they just made you the most popular truck on the market in your first try. So
yeah, I mean, we said it already. Like, I'm not in the market for a sedan or something like what the Model X is, but I would have a hard time buying it because it just doesn't look very dope.
Right.
It's just not that cool on the outside. Driving it's amazing and it feels so cool to drive. But I'm just so glad that on the truck, which is something that I would actually consider buying, whether it looked the way it did now or if it looked a little bit more like a traditional truck, that I would really strongly consider buying it. And I'm so happy that they just went all in and decided to hold no stops. They just went for it.
Yeah, I like things that are fresh. It's like in the future, vehicles will probably look more like this than they do like a Chevy Silverado from 10 years ago.
But is that what people said about the DeLorean? Where people were like, this is what all cars are going to look like now?
Well, there's a lot of cars like that have been these kind of anomalies aesthetically, right? Mm-hmm. So like the Volkswagen thing was a great example. The Volkswagen, the VW Bug. Mm-hmm. Our good buddy Paul Jackman's favorite car, the Honda Element.
Oh, yeah, I like the Honda Element, though. You can, hose that puppy down.
Also, it got a lot of the ugly comments.
It did.
The El Camino.
El Camino is a classic.
The Citroen, if we're going back a little bit farther in time.
I don't know that one.
And if you really want to go back, look up Buckminster Fuller's Dymaxion car. Way ahead of the game, but it had this freak accident. A bunch of people died. I think they burned to death.
Perfect.
It fell off from there.
It lived the blimp legacy.
But no, so I think the mixed reaction is because people, when they think truck, they think like, oh, this is what general contractors and real Americans drive. And that's not normally the Tesla market.
No.
So I think that's an interesting question for us as makers. We're in a sort of a weird situation where we do haul a lot of stuff. We're always doing material runs.
Yeah.
We do need towing capacity every once in a while if I'm renting excavation machines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We're throwing 2x4s every once in a while in the back of the truck, and we are driving around a lot. So for me, it makes sense. The one caveat being a little bit tricky to access. Like if you had a narrow garage and you parked this and then needed to get something out of the back, that is, I think, would be kind of a
little
hassle.
Inconvenient, yeah.
I just love the boldness. I love the material choice. I'm intrigued by the idea of the exoskeleton. I'd have to see how that actually plays out and how much weight does it add.
Yeah.
And the idea of it being bulletproof isn't particularly appealing to me.
Yeah, but the thing with it being bulletproof, there's something that I saw on the internet is people talking about the fact that the glass is bulletproof. It's basically like a stock armored vehicle.
Well, bulletproof up to 9mm rounds, they said.
Right, but people are just saying, think about how many police departments, federal agencies, all these type of people are going to be placing orders on that instead of a Chevy or a Ford or a Dodge. Stock, baby, invest, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, well, the stock went down after the announcement 6%.
Do you think that that's largely just because of a bad showing with the whole throwing the
I think so, and I think they just the radicalness of the design made people think that the sales might suffer. I'm really curious. So this is on a Saturday when the market opens up. Yeah. And the numbers get released of how many
pre-orders
deposits have been placed. Yeah. I have a feeling it'll be interesting to watch that it could start to go back up.
I agree.
Because again, if if the assumption was this isn't going to sell, but the numbers start indicating that this is going to be one of the 3 best-selling trucks in the country, then how is that not a home run?
What's scarier than being the guy that predicted wrong? So everyone, like, as soon as numbers come out, everyone that said it's ugly and it's not going to sell is going to immediately flip-flop, because you don't want to be the guy that, if you're investing, if that's your thing, you don't want to be the guy that bet wrong, right?
Again, everyone has, from just the random people, everyone has the right to their aesthetic judgment.
Totally, yeah. But I'm just saying, when people find out, the numbers might not have backed up that claim.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know what I think it was, too? Is that there's certain people that like the aesthetic of trucks.
Word.
They actually like the way trucks look. Same way some people like bootcut jeans. When I look at like the luxury SUV market, I see a lot of really like curvy, bubbly lines, but they have the same thing where the back starts to taper down quite a bit. Whereas trucks are normally like, may taper in the front, but then it's a real straight.
Where the cab and bed meet. Yeah.
So the other sort of electric trucks on the market that we've been looking at, because we like trucks, but we're also interested in new technology, is the Rivian. Is that one that's gotten a lot of hype? To me, that just looks like as if like a smoother version of a truck that's a little bit more futuristic.
Yeah.
But it's like they just ran it through a rounding filter.
I was about to say, they did the opposite. They softened everything instead of made everything more angular.
And it looks cool.
I remember when Chevy made that really ugly truck. Do you remember this thing where it was like the convertible truck? You remember that? It had like the bed cover that would go over, and it was just so ugly. The electric one that I'm hype on, that's not the Tesla truck, it's the Bollinger Motor one.
Yes. That was the first one I saw it's incredible. That was exactly what I wanted a truck to look like. It had that classic kind of like
Scout
Defender
or like an old school Bronco.
It looks great, but that's going to be like $120,000.
Yeah, really, really, really expensive.
The other thing that blew me away right away was the 500 up to a range of 500 miles.
Yeah.
I don't think my truck can do 500 miles on a full tank of gas.
I really have no clue.
I'm pretty sure it can't. So if they hit anywhere close to that, I am super intrigued. If I can go 500 miles without refueling, and that's even without the solar option, which Elon's saying that they could add, it would add about 15 miles a day in optimal charging things, which for us out here in Joshua Tree makes sense. So the other thing is someone that's sometimes building on remote locations. This truck can be your mobile generator. So you actually have AC plugs. So you could plug in a table saw, job site tool, stuff like that. The one thing I would like to see is I did feel like the wheels, I did want to see almost like bigger wheels on it relative to because the body is thick.
Yeah.
So for what I use a truck for, I find that'll be very functional.
I think so, yeah.
Occasionally I have like a 2-hour drive into Los Angeles. I love the idea of the sort of auto driving and those kind of things. I love the idea, that I could go there and back without having to charge it.
Oh, you know what I'm hype on?
Yeah.
It can lower and raise itself. Like when you want it lifted, awesome.
So the air shocks, do you think you can actually change them in side to side?
I don't know. Not side to side, but like front and back. I feel like you probably could, right? You're just riding sideways.
You like tilt that back end up in the air like you're asking for it.
Not at all. Not at all. But I mean, maybe you know what? Now that we're talking about the whole liftgate thing, I bet that's what it does automatically. When the liftgate comes down, I bet it sort of like lowers the back wheels.
Yeah, it's interesting that they haven't shown any construction things with it. They've only showed like camping and like kind of outdoor recreational pulling a ATV into it.
Yeah,
which I think means, but I think they're going to sell to a small percentage of the people that were considering a full-size truck.
You know who they're going to sell it to? I just realized it. It's everybody that's thinking about buying a freaking Ford Raptor.
Oh,
I'm just going to go out here and say Ford Raptors are whack. If you own one, I'm sorry, but
they're pretty cool, but they're not a practical truck.
It's not a practical truck. Yeah, exactly.
Well, the Raptor really is on that kind of
it's like a Baja truck for the suburbs.
Right. Yeah, well, that's what's interesting. It's like, because that's what's so weird is that if you look at the genres of trucks, right? Like there's the really beefy raised up truck, right?
Yeah.
The guys over comes in a little bit.
Small monster truck.
Right. And then there's like the people that the truck is a tool. And we're kind of in that era, but then we also spend more time in civilization too. So it's like the people that think a truck is a tool, probably might be a little bit out of the price range. I know a few general contractors that I know that treat their truck as more of a mobile office that I think would really like this.
Yeah, and for someone like a general contractor too, it's almost like it's not that you're showing off having a nice truck, but having a nice truck is like, trust me, like work with me, look at my nice truck. Like if you come up to the build site and something that's kind of like beat up, stuff like that, people might have the wrong impression, come up with something nice. It's putting the right foot forward.
So to sort of wrap it up and summarize.
Yeah, final thoughts.
So we put our deposits in. Do you think if it comes out in time, which I think that's the biggest if, I do not trust anyone's ability to deliver a product on time. It's just really hard.
We've seen enough Kickstarters.
Yeah. But if it comes out like a year or two from now, you think you're in?
Absolutely, yeah. So they set an estimated production start of late 2021. I guess that would mean they would actually start delivering them maybe in early 2022. So let's just say in 2 years. I hope I got that kind of money in 2 years. Like right now.
No, you have it.
Well, that's the thing. If it launched and was available for sale today, I would probably end up buying like a dual motor one. I probably wouldn't get one loaded out, but I would really consider it. Now, looking into the future, I'm sitting there thinking, I can afford that.
Yeah.
Or I really hope that I can afford it, right? That's the wishful thinking of it all. But yeah, as long as I'm not broke, I'm getting one.
If it appears to deliver on the things that it says that it does at $70,000, I'll get it.
Yeah.
If it looks like it's going to be a compromise thing, and the primary thing for me would be range, I think they should be able to hit those range things. I think one of the advantages of doing a big vehicle like this is they have more room for batteries.
Totally. That whole bed is probably lined with it.
Right. So if it hits the specs that they say in the time frame that they think it is, then I will get the one, and I'll probably get the one that has the most range.
And also, we're going to mod them up. That will be so fun. I can't wait to just get one and then just make it look so insane. Make it look like a Batmobile.
Right.
It's already almost there.
And again, I really like the idea of being able to own your own fuel source. So it's like I'm installing panels right now in the shipping container house, and I like the idea that I could be producing my own gas station, right? Like how cool is that?
So let's say they do 500,000 deposits by the end of the year, like what you asked.
That's what I think.
Well, first off, that's just $5 million in free money. They shouldn't have offered a rebate.
Isn't it 50? $100 times 500,000.
You add 2 zeros. 50 million?
Yeah.
I would expect somewhere around 500,000 deposits, and of that, maybe about 100,000, if that would be the case.
I think that's what we'll do. I think we'll do 500,000 by the end of the year. Maybe, they'll do another press release. There'll be some new things, but I think it'll start to die down. People will forget about it. There's a long ways to go.
That's it, yeah.
Again, there's also the possibility that the truck they released doesn't look like this one. Or that they find out that the stainless steel manufacturing isn't what they think it is. I mean, there's not a lot of car manufacturers manufacturing with stainless steel, and there's probably a reason for that.
Probably.
And Tesla's overestimated their production capabilities a few times. So, but those were our predictions. We think about 500,000 deposits, and we think 100,000 units in their first year.
And if they end up being dope, they're going to be on our Instagrams pretty regularly, right?
Yes.
All right. So thanks, guys, for watching. New channel. Hopefully you dug it. If you did, subscribe, notification, the whole thing. We're probably not going to be posting on here super regularly, but hey, when cool things pop up that we want to chat about, we might as well do it on the internet instead of doing it on the back porch.
And hit us up on Instagram if you have suggestions for other topics to react to.
Awesome. Peace, guys.